Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Hi and hello to all my royalty. How are you? Oh, okay, let's get some petty tea, hot, cold, or room temperature, But yeah, let's dig in because I am I'm going to be talking a lot. Well, I already know I talk a lot about politics, and I mix politics with dating, especially because a lot of men keep saying, "What does politics have to do with dating?" And or like especially moderate men when I say that I only date men on the left because, well, from even what I've noticed, even from the couple of moderate men this week, once they like, because I ask them, I get right to the point. "Oh, okay, so you're a moderate, so what's your opinion on this stance?" Their stance is Republican. "Okay, what about this one?" Their stance is Republican. "Okay, what about this one?" And their stance is Republican. And then I get to the point, are you really moderate? Like, 'cause I know everyone has a little bit of mixture here and there and everything, but question after question after question, everything is guided towards Republican, and or they have the nerve to say that this country isn't racist, or they don't really see the signs of racism, and or oh yeah, the ignorant, stupid, idiotic things that I have heard some of these men say. But yeah, this episode's about education and reading because, yeah, like I was saying, I talk a lot about politics, and on and off, I've brought up education, especially teaching in the classroom, K through 12 and college. I have seen so much, and I can't say that I've seen it all. I haven't. And I am happy and blessed that I haven't. But at the same time, I am sad that I haven't because there are amazing things that I hope to see. But then there are some scary things, especially when I've already said in a couple of the episodes. But if you don't know, catch up. You get to enjoy over 500 episodes by Moa. Enjoy. But anyway, it's really sad when I'm teaching and or I'm working on things for my students, and my students are, you know, they seem excited and they have this, "Oh my gosh, I can do this," or "Wow, this is cool. Wow, I've never had a chance and I never thought that I would be able to do or work on A, B, and C before," or "I've never seen this before," and or "I never thought that I would see this in a classroom," because especially K through 12. I had my I was like, my students, my first graders read the snails. It's like, and part of it was I got part of the idea because I kept watching like different like some of the richer schools, all white schools. They would get on a bus and go to like dog shelters and or animal shelters and read to the cats and dogs. And I'm just yeah, it's like they get that opportunity. They get that emotional attachment with empathy, and like some of them don't get any empathy out of it or whatever. But it's like having that interaction and being able to have, it's like that's kind of like a not well, kind of an ego booster. Like you're reading to a creature, you're having a connection with a creature, and okay, it's like watch the episode, but when I end up, that was my first year at this school because I was there for 4 years. But when at the end of the results, teachers are coming up to me or coming to my classroom, "Why are you trying this hard? Why are you doing all of this? You don't get paid enough for this." And or "These students aren't ever going to be anything. You shouldn't be teaching them if that's what you think of your students. You should not be in the classroom." Like, and the funny thing is, one of the teachers that said this to me, she is the one that gets to grade me on my teaching. Yeah, it's like I think she gave me like a B or B minus or something. And it's really funny because, like, she even marked down like something like I have an indoor garden. I kept having parents come in and ask about the indoor garden. And then, like, when they come in, I was like, I'm very bubbly and excited. I'm kind of like a cheerleader and everything like that. And so some of the parents are like, oh, yeah, my kid was talking about it's like you have the flowers, and it's like, because like some of the flowers didn't work, but now it's really crazy how they're working with my butterfly garden in the backyard. So sometimes I'm like, was it the soil? But we had a little growth here and there, blah blah blah. But the kids were more excited about just doing having the opportunity. But then the celery and some of the other items that were right at the window and stuff, those were working so well that parents were coming in. They were excited. They were like, this is really cool. My kid comes home talking about this every day. And then there's snails. Some of the parents thought they were imaginary friends. So when they came in, and I was like, oh no, yeah, your daughter's snail is Strawberry. Yeah, come on, let me introduce you to Strawberry. So then I was like, I'm looking in the snail container because at first, like, and the amazing thing was my students paid attention. And it was amazing because a lot of teachers are like, they don't care, they don't listen, they don't. Hmm. They knew. My students remembered when I was teaching about nocturnal animals, and this is for first graders. I took them out for recess, and some of the students were like, oh, we found snails. Because I didn't do that. I didn't even do the snails things on purpose. It's like, but I was so proud of my students because they were like, they're nocturnal. And I was like, yeah, they are. Yeah, you remember that. And I was impressed. I was happy. I was excited. They're like, yay. And they're like, oh, and I remember that they eat, and they mentioned like some of the, like a couple of the items and stuff because I was trying to do snails from around the world. And I'm like, yeah, the one from that country, yeah, they do. I was like, oh, good job. And but then next thing I know, they're like, oh, can we have one? And I'm like, yeah, why not? Because I was like, you know what, we can monitor and look after a snail. But then all of them wanted a snail, and I'm like, oh crap. But then it's like I started like over the first weekend because yeah, I found a fish tank. We put them in the fish tank. I asked the lunch lady for leftovers of their snacks. Usually the snacks were fruits and vegetables. So then, and I when I got home, I researched. So like, okay, like I need more of what this type eats and things like that or whatever. So I was ready. Oh, that was like my weekend fast forward homework assignment. And but then I realized I'm like, oh, they could read to them. And especially since a lot of my students had certain things going on mentally and things like that, I'm like, this is perfect. But yeah, it's like at the end of the day, teachers were coming in complaining, and my class wants this. How dare you? Oh, do you think that all of us can have all these snails crawling around? And oh, I'll never come into your classroom again. And it was just like I'm getting hate for educating my students. I'm getting hate for trying to make sure that my students have the experience and that they're excited about education. Oh, you don't even know. But then, even with my eighth graders a couple years later, because I was there for 4 years, it's like the principal had me teach kind of like the honors English type of thing. And she said, like, no, it's all yours. It's like you have your degree in English, you have two masters and stuff, mix it up, surprise me. And I'm like, hey, you don't want to tell a highly creative person that. But yeah, it's like, especially after finding out the reading grade level of a lot of the students, I was like, okay, yeah, we got to back it up. We got to be hooked on phonics before anything. So that's when I started creating the rap battles. And but I was giving my students like, okay, this is this phonics. Like, okay, one week it might have been the PH, and I would even help them like, okay, with the dictionary, like they would be looking up words with the ph sound and the definitions because I was like, no, if you're going to put these words into your raps, they have to make sense. And so I'm saying these examples because yeah, we've got that one rapper. who, and I told you the last few episodes I'm going to bring this up, but he had the nerve to say, we don't have to be literate, but we should be financially literate. What? Is this the reason why rap music and a lot of music genres have been going downhill? Is this like, 'cause I think one reason why K-pop Demon Hunters did so well is because of the education of the artist. I think like having the superpower of being able to play with words and vocabulary and things like that, and how to tell the story, because in like a lot of people, in order to tell the stories, usually you have to at least read or hear, like, and he said, oh, you could just do audiobooks, you could just do audio, like, no, no. Sometimes it's the way, like, even the way that you write it. Sometimes the way you write it, and it can change the tempo, the beat, and everything like that. So when this, and yeah, one day I'm gonna be petty and I'm gonna look up some of his lyrics, and I'm gonna analyze and go through it and stuff, and maybe even say how he could have done a better job. And yes, I'm an unknown poet. I'm a unknown author and everything like that. But you know what? I'm petty. I don't care. But it's just amazing with how music is. Ooh, 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 ooh. Yeah. But the people who are in other parts of diversity, they're looking at like, a lot of them are even mirroring a lot of the old school artists, because like K-pop Demon Hunters, like, to me they have a mixture of Powerpuff Girls with TLC, and even with some of the R&B, I see a little bit of that Destiny's Child in it, because like with the story and the plot and the emotion, and then like the different meanings that you can get out of it, to the point where everyone can connect to it. And ah, it just feels really annoying and frustrating now with where it's going. But I think one reason is because we have artists like this saying that we don't need to read. But then at the same time, he has to remember how we were able to get where we're at. Because at one point we weren't even allowed to read, in or if we could read, we were only allowed to read the parts of the Bible that said that we have to be good slaves. That, and then now you have to look at history and how it's trying to repeat itself. We have pastors right now trying to say that they can't say slavery is a bad thing because it's in the Bible. So you need to be careful. You need to read. You need to pay attention to your history. Yes, I'm glad, like, he's never going to listen to this episode, but I have to say what I have to say. And also, it's like, we have come so far, because from not being able, or not being able and allowed to read, and then being able, and well, kind of, yeah, it took steps, but then being free, being able to start opening up schools so that people could start learning, but then they still couldn't go to college, so then had to create their own colleges and universities so that we could be able to work. Some of the, like, how many people do you think, or how many of you guys think that if we couldn't read, that we would be able to have people with doctorates and or even masters? Do you think we would be able to just audiobook all of that stuff? Because again, like with most tests, you got to read the questions. You got to be able to write the answers. And if you're only listening, but then you don't even know how to spell the words, what kind of grade you, because yeah, look at that one young lady who got that F on that paper, because like it's in the Bible, but she couldn't source the daggone thing. It's like she's kind of evidence of why it is important to read sources and read materials to be able to write a valid and powerful message. And the same thing with lyrics. The more you learn and read and absorb, the more power you can have in your lyrics. And this is one reason why, yeah, it's like, remember that Super Bowl Sunday? Or yeah, it's like, remember that Super Bowl performance? You know which one. Yeah, no wonder, he got to teach college classes, because it's in the art, it's in the creativity. Look at Tupac. And it's like, look at even the transformation of Eminem. Because yeah, bet like I've said this in other videos, like I didn't start having a crush on Eminem until like his music was evolving to the point where I'm like, okay, because I'm a sapiosexual. Because this beginning works, I'm like, okay, yeah, well, I mean, great beat and stuff, but yeah, the lyric, they're not saying anything. I'm just like, okay, yeah, whoopty. But then I'm like, the deeper and darker he was getting within it and telling his truth, telling his history, because it's like the exception was 8 Mile. But yeah, there were some other songs where I'm just like, and then he had the song with Rihanna and Pink where I'm just like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting somewhere. And then it was just like, so I don't know, it's just with a lot of the artists right now, there's not, mm, it's majority of, you don't need to know anything, just know how to party, just know how to do these certain things. And with education, it's like we should be having artists and people who are well off now encouraging those to like go for your goals and things. Yes, be financially literate while being literate, because being literate will allow you to conquer and go for different careers. It's like I'm wondering what kind of careers does he think that, or does he want other people to be able to obtain? And yes, even though he didn't need dot 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 type of education, maybe other people do in order to get to the point where he is financially. And yes, it's like I'm gonna keep saying financial like literacy and security is like it's needed. It's crucial. And especially when I talk to women, young women now, because a lot of men right now are like, yeah, women, just stay home, just do that. Oh, I'm going to do a whole episode. I already talk about that a lot, but I'm going to talk a lot more about that because I'm hearing more and more red pill men going around telling men that the most unattractive thing about a woman is if she has goals and things like that. And I'm just like, that's unattractive. But then I have to look at oh yeah, look at my Patreon. I have hundreds of evidence, and I still have like hundreds and hundreds and over 1,000 more pictures to upload of evidence showing how little these men know and how determined they are to be as uneducated as humanly possible. I'm going to repeat that they are so determined to be as poorly educated as humanly possible. And it's just mind blowing with how stupid some of these men are determined to be. And at the same time, while they want to be stupid, they want the woman to be even more stupid than them. Because, like, if you look at my screenshots that I do provide on the episodes for free, yeah, though I have hundreds more that are not in these episodes. I repeat the same one, so at least you can see samples of what I have to offer. Because do you know how many men have told me I wasted my time getting my college degree? That I should have been just looking for the husband. Kind of like what that CK guy said. Yeah. And a lot of these red pill men, they have the nerve to say. They say this because they want to be able to have power over you, keep you. And they don't want you to have your own opinion. They don't want you to be able to know better. They want is power and ego. But at the same time, they're so lazy, it's like they want to be dumb too. They don't want to have to work for anything. Like, and I'm not saying all, but I'm hearing this so much. And the messages that I was getting from November of 2022 until like the middle of this year, because once the orange guy really started his second, oh my gosh, you should have seen the drop of messages to the point now where I hardly get any. They've all just shut up. Yeah, because a lot of them used to call me the R word and stupid and an idiot for voting for the left, and how the orange man was going to save the day and help them, blah, 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 blah. And but then, oh, if you've been paying attention to the screenshots in the episodes, go back and watch. There are a couple who they would tell me what rap artists would say about politics. This rapper said that the orange man is cool, that he's good, that he's amazing, that he's not racist. And I was like, okay, you're telling me what a rapper said. Tell me what a professor said. Tell me what like politicians from both sides said. Tell me because yeah, it's like tell me because I know the Republican people are just gonna uplift and pray. Like okay, tell me at least that point of view so that I can go and research and do stuff like that. Because when I listen to progressive news, I at least try to look at I listen to the clips and everything and look at what both sides are saying and things like that. And it's really funny how a lot of the red pill men, a lot of MAGA tell me that I'm just repeating I'm just a sheep and I'm repeating what all the other sheep are saying and blah, blah, blah. But then at the same time, they say only only my college friends are Democrats. And I'm just like, let that sink in. You keep saying all the sheep, but then all the sheep went to college. Let that sink in. Yeah. And also, the more educated you are, the more likely you are going to be Democrat. And so, part of me, I'm wondering which way did this rapper vote? I want to know that because if he is so determined, especially he wants people to be financially literate. Usually when it comes to money and things like that, most of them vote more Republican. Most of them cheer on the Republicans. So I'm really wondering who did he vote for? Is he Democrat or is he Republican or is he moderate? But when I say moderate, is he really Republican? But he doesn't want to say Republican, so he's going to say moderate so he can save face. Which one is he? Yeah, I wonder. But when it comes to your goals and your dreams, there are so many research sources out here. But make sure you're able to read. Because with contracts, like if you, I think he said, oh, I could have someone read it to me. Why would you allow someone that power? And also, I've watched documentaries about people who have won the lottery, millions of dollars, and then some of them end up being babinged because, or tricked out of almost all of their money because they trusted other people because they weren't that educated. Some were not educated at all. So they entrusted everything to other people. They believed when people would read off, oh yeah, well I paid this off and that off, blah blah. Next thing you know, they were losing their house and they were losing everything else while the person managing their money were buying beautiful houses and cars and going on trips and everything. They used all their money to the point where they were broke, and then next thing you know, all those people who loved and adored them left them. So you might want to be a little literate, just a little, because yeah, trusting so many people might get you in dangerous ways. And that's one reason why with my business that I'm starting, I am doing as much as I can do on my own. I'm doing the research and everything like that on my and sometimes I do have a couple friends who they're starting their own businesses too, and also in a create and because that's the thing, I've met certain groups and or people where yes, we talk about our goals, sometimes we share different resources and things like that. Do that, because even with my college students and stuff, I say find a mentor. So if you can find a mentor or a group and stuff where they're going to motivate everyone to move up, everyone to be together. But do not be in a group or do not find people who are all looking at you kind of like you are the victim and they're the sharks. You never want to be the because yeah, it's you're better off being that shark. You're better off being that. Because, and I'm not saying be a shark. That's bad too. But in a lot of situations nowadays, as you grow up, sometimes you got to look out. Sometimes you got to figure out, am I the victim or am I the shark? Which one am I? Because if a lot of people are all of a sudden coming up to you, you got to figure out, which one am I? And so, but anyway, yes, I'm gonna probably have more on this, yeah, as normal, but it's just even if it's reading a blog, and even if like maybe like once I finally have my website up, it's like 'cause I'm gonna have my children's books and my novels and things like that. But I want people to be able to read so many different genres and things. So maybe I can even find like interesting papers and things by different professors, because we need to be more educated about not only the area around us, but the world and history, because we need to make sure we don't repeat history. And especially when it comes to education and the power of education, so many people have forgotten the power within the education. And one reason that we are, especially as African Americans, the reason why we are where we are is because of education. And it's like, and even the law tricked us with the wording. And that's why we need the Crown Act right now, because of words, the power of reading, and the power that the colonizers used against us, so that we can't just have afros and things like that, where we can get suspended and kicked out because of our natural hair. It was the wording. But African Americans didn't know all of the words and descriptions that they needed to put in there. But now they do. But now the colonizers are trying to make sure that they keep us out. They don't want our beautiful natural hair. So the power of words, the power of reading, the power of knowledge, the power of research is crucial and so beneficial, because that is just one example. There are so many different laws and things like that, where once you dig in, once you look in deeper and things like that, you can see how one word, or how you can see how a couple sentences changes the whole thing. So I'm the opposite of this rap artist. I am so, because yeah, watch documentaries, watch videos, and listen to some audiobooks, but make sure you read, because the more you read, there are so many beneficial things about reading. And they even say, like, the more vocabulary you have, the less you swear, or the less you swear, like the more like you use of other languages and words and things like that. If you guys been paying attention to the screenshots I've been showing, ooh, that's nothing. Yeah, again, my Patreon. It's like so many of these men, they want to call me out my name and swear at me and say all of these awful derogatory things. And then a lot of them want to call me a slave. Okay, first, okay, define slave and tell me how I am a slave. Okay. Yeah, tell me. I want, yeah. But it's like a lot of the stupid, awful, terrible things, and all the ways they try to dehumanize me. And or once, like when they see that I have my higher education, you're just trying to be white. Same thing as back as though, like when I taught in the inner city with the, like all of the indoor garden and everything. Those teachers kept telling the eighth graders that I'm trying to turn them white. I was so close to getting them so excited about learning. They were starting to do so well. But then some of the, like the science math teacher, oh, she's just trying to turn you white. Do you want to be white? If you end up white, you're just going to get beat up. You're going to be hurt. You're going to be this. You're going to be that. You don't want to, like, yeah, this rap artist sounds like those teachers. The teachers were against these students. They don't care. They just wanted their summers off. See, so you got to understand when you're going to be the shark or the victim. And it's like these teachers wanted to, they were the sharks. They turned, like they were biting and chewing at my students' like goals and aspirations and dreams and their future, biting away at it. Basically just telling them, just settle with what you can, fill out and fill in the blank, do whatever, blah, blah, blah. But okay, I'm going to need another episode, but read. Read and learn every day. Be ready to be the student. I don't care how old you are. Always be ready to be the student. I'm a student every day. I listen to information and different videos and read articles every single day. Thank you so much for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human and you're human too.